I'm in a New York state of mind.
Start spreading the news. In New York, if I can make it there,
I still love you, New York, New York,
New York, I'll make it anywhere.
Well, I think it's a milestone that should be applauded. There's a lot of organizations today that do not last 100 years.
We've been around 100 years, and for an organization like this to be around 100 years and the support it's gotten from within the industry for 100 years, it just speaks volumes for what it's meant to us.
It's fun, it's informative, and it's necessary for the trade.
The New York State Jewelers Association would have been vital to jewelers in both good times and in tough times.
In the 30s and 40s, the associations were very important to the independent retail jewelers.
When war was declared, the Second World War, New York and New York jewelers had to really reconsider how they were selling jewelry. Metals such as platinum went out of circulation because they were being used for the war effort. Jewelers were selling fewer pieces of jewelry, of course, because people were not thinking so much about buying jewelry, but they were doing war work. Jewelers were doing all kinds of things to help the war effort, just as they had done a great deal during the Depression to help the poor. Because jewelers felt in many ways more fortunate than others, there was tremendous giving both during the Depression and during World War II.
During World War II, we had a 20% federal excise tax, primarily on luxury items. The only exception was religious items, rosaries, miraculous medals, Star of David. Those things were exempt. It was amazing how many were sold, okay, tax-free, okay.
During World War II and afterwards, there were luxury taxes called excise taxes imposed on the jewelry industry. And it was confusing to a lot of independent small jewelers, and the associations would guide them through the legals, would recommend accountants that were helpful.
In the late 80s, if my memory serves me correctly, New York State wanted to institute, or it was federal, another excise tax on jewelry. There was a lot of opposition, and I believe Tom Andruszkiewicz, I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Wait till you get to be 39, you won't remember names either. All right, he was with Tiffany at the time. He was on that committee to squelch that tax, and he did a very good job.
In more recent times, just in the first couple of months of 2009, New York State faced the threat of a luxury tax. Luxury taxes always seem to rear their ugly heads at a time when we're in tough financial times, and legislators always seem to want to somehow stick to the rich, and one of the first things they think about is taxing jewelry. And the New York State jewelers leapt to the occasion and wrote to their state senators, wrote to their state representatives, and sent a very clear message that they did not need or want this, and that they were small business people trying to keep their doors open and trying to continue to contribute to the economy. And they had very compelling arguments as to why a luxury tax doesn't work anyway. So I was very proud of the effort New York State put into that, and within a short period of time, Governor Patterson and the legislature said, okay, we're just taking that out of the budget, that's not going to be part of it, and we were able to declare victory.
Many members relied on the organization for information and assistance with their challenges during their everyday business.
The association has many benefits. The Jewelers Vigilance Committee is a benefit.
The educational programs.
Financial survival planning.
We have insurance programs.
A 401k plan.
Discounts for UPS and FedEx shipping that we have pioneered.
We have Jewelers Block Insurance through Jewelers Mutual.
Giving back to nonprofit organizations like the Wounded Warrior Project that we feel very strongly about.
Our newsletter, which is now an e-newsletter.
Networking.
Credit card processing at discounted rates.
Our black tie dinner is a great opportunity to meet people in the industry.
And of course the annual banquet is a high spot of the year as far as I'm concerned. The only problem with that is I have to wear a tie, Barbara.
When I ask some of the old timers, you know, what are their fondest memories, they talk about the weekends, the conferences, the good times they had, how they brought their families. It was a whole family event.
So one of my fond memories was going to these dinners, whether it was an area meeting or it was, you know, one of the big conventions up in the mountains, and sitting with, hey, the guy that had the jewelry store next town, or the guy 2 towns away. And there was real great camaraderie back then that I remember watching my grandfather and my parents talk to these people, thinking, wow, it's like a really their own little, you know, community within the jewelry industry, within the New York State Jewelers Association. And it was a good feeling.
To me, one of the important benefits are the area meetings. We get together with our competitors in the jewelry business, and we become friends. And we have informative speeches, talks, and we take that back to our store and hopefully inaugurate whatever they recommend. But I think really the important part is we get to know each other.
There's a gentleman who's, I think, one of the longest standing members now of the organization. His name was Herschel Graubart, and he's from upstate New York. And he was a very good friend of my grandparents. But that relationship with my grandparents was bonded because of the New York State Jewelers Association.
These are the kind of people I met, and I'm grateful for their advice and their friendship.
It's an old expression, but it's a very true one. Jewelers learn the most from other jewelers.
And throughout the years, there have been many, many members and many officers in the organization that have fought hard and fought valiantly to keep the organization going and keep it strong.
Congratulations to the New York State Jewelers Association on their 100th anniversary.
New York State Jewelers, congratulations. You have achieved an incredible milestone. My hat's off to you.
Congratulations to the New York State Jewelers Association for 100 years of dedicated service to the jewelry industry.
I'd like to congratulate New York State Jewelers on their 100th anniversary, and I hope it continues for 100 more years and thereafter.
Congratulations to New York State Jewelers Association and its membership for the past 100 years.
Congratulations to the New York State Jewelers Association on achieving 100 years as an organization.
This is a thrill of a lifetime to be part of this 100th anniversary celebration of the New York State Jewelers Association, and we wish them 100 more.
It's up to you.